Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Now the last couple of videos have been about plants, not particularly about the fish or the things we can keep in our aquariums. So today's video is a little bit different. We're going to talk about what I believe one of the most underrated pets to keep in your aquariums. And I've got one and I don't even talk about it enough. Now these pets are completely amazing. They're one of the pets, they've got a personality, you can hand feed them, they're sociable, they're brilliant in my opinion. Now, we're also going to talk about a subject which can be controversial about feeding live food, in particular live worms. Now, I'm a fisherman at heart, have been for 20 odd years. So for me, it's not a big issue. And I love animals. If I catch a rat or a mouse, I humanely let them free. So trust me, I care about animals. So stay tuned. And in the video, we're going to do a live feeding as well, hand feeding, hopefully, fingers crossed. So keep watching and let me know what you think. So have you guessed it yet? Those of you who have been on my channel from the beginning will have seen a couple of videos of this, and we are talking about fire eels. I absolutely love them. I don't know why more people don't have them. They start off very small, they're quite slow growing. You do need a massive tank in the future. Now I've had mine, I think for about a year, maybe a bit longer, I can't really remember. And the plan is to get them to grow. There's a few issues with fire eels, one of them being getting them to feed. When they're small, they only really take live bloodworm, or if you're lucky, frozen. Now, I know people who've had fire eels die straight away because they don't eat. The trouble is, I started mine on live worms, and now that's all it eats. And because it's in a community tank at the moment, all the other fish in there like to eat them as well. So I can't even try to get it onto prawn or shrimp because the others absolutely devour it. The plan is in the future for it to have its own large tank, and then I can just target feed him by itself. Now our fire eel is called Charizard. A few of you may have seen that as well. We absolutely love him, him. So I'm going to spin you around. We'll take a quick look at that, and then we'll look at the feeding. Right. So here's our main tank. The lights are on a lot brighter than they normally would be, just so we can see. You can see we've got tinfoil barbs. Oscars are starting to colour up nicely, and the albino one up there. So our fire eel lives in this little tube here. There he is. That's Charizard. He's not massive. When we got him, he was a lot smaller. I will put a little short clip above of when we first got him. It was tiny. We finally started growing him up nice and big. Now, like I say, fire eels are truly amazing. I don't think you'll find a more personable aquatic pet out there. But they come with a few issues. They're slow growing, so you've got to watch what you put them in with. They get massive, up to 34 inches, I'm told. I've seen some pretty big ones. And they're fat, they're amazing, and they're just the best pets ever. But they do require a massive tank, bigger than what I've got behind me. Luckily, I do plan to have a indoor pond at some point, which will be able to cater for that. Now, another problem is the food, probably the biggest problem. You're never going to get them onto dry food, and if someone has, well done. In my opinion, they're going to eat live, or if you're lucky, you can get them onto shrimp, or I believe in America, tilapia seems to be accepted. Now, I have tried mine on various things. I even tried him on a little bit of blood heart, mimicking a worm. It just doesn't do it. You will need to persevere, and people often say when it's hungry to eat. I sometimes worry about that. It can go a couple of weeks. I've tried before and it didn't change over, but now I've got the problem. It's a community tank, so I need to make sure everyone's getting food, and so I target feed him, which way he feeds by hand and live worms. Another thing is keep the temperature pretty high, keeps their metabolism going. My fire eel is very active. I've heard people say theirs aren't active at all. They probably slow down as they get bigger, but at the moment, mine's out in the evenings. Like I say, the light in this tank at the moment is a lot brighter than normally would be, just so I could show you while I'm filming. So let's have a quick look at the worms. Now I've got a new package delivered today. I also breed them. These are Dendrobina worms, and they're good for composting, as long as it's an enclosed compost bin, because they do like to wander around. So if you put them in a compost bin, don't expect them to stay in there. Now let's have a quick look. I'll flip you around. Okay, so here's our package. This is how it comes through the post. Now I've ordered from this company quite a few times, and I will put a link in the description for for anyone that wants to order them. I get them from Amazon. They've always turned up alive, perfect, and no issues. The good thing about feeding live worms is you don't get, generally, human diseases won't transport over to aquariums, the same as saltwater aquariums don't generally transfer over to freshwater aquariums. So it's a good choice of food in that aspect. But there's a few things I do to try and eliminate any potential harm. So let's open these up and have a quick look. There we go. So this is, if you can see that, let's have a look. So it comes with a few tips and tells you how to store them, etc., which is always nice. So these come in 2 bags. I don't know if you can see them all in there. Nicely packed. Quite a few in there. I think this is 500 grams, I believe. And there you go. That's the company I use. There's the contact details if you want. I'll also put the link in the description, like I said. So Dendrobina worms generally are quite slow to breed, but they do breed, and I've actually done a video of it. So what we do, this little Tupperware tub with some composting in. Now, as you can see, look at that, so fine. The good thing about these worms is all you need to put is a bit of cardboard, some leaf material in there, and they will be plenty happy by the time you use them, and they do breed. I'll put a picture of a couple of worms breeding. There's a worm egg there from the ones we've still got in here. Interestingly, if you've never seen how worms breed, it's quite shocking. I'll put that on the screen now for you. Okay, so what we do, get the bag. We're just going to tip them out. Important to do this while the wife's not here. I don't think she'd appreciate it being done on this table. Okay. Let's have a quick look. Look through. There we go. So plenty of worms there. Give it a little close up. There we go. Absolutely loads of worms in there. Now what I like to do with my worms, get these little tiny takeaway tubs. Any tub will do. Now I generally feed Charizard 5 to 6 worms a day. Obviously the bigger he gets, the more I need. So I'll separate a few worms, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the next step I like to take is pop these in your refrigerator, as long as you're allowed to. Obviously, lid on first. Now you only need to keep them in there for a few hours, and then what they tend to do, any dirt or material they've got in them, poop, they will purge out. So when you open the tub the next time, they'll be sitting by themselves and there'll just be some extra mud, which I think is just a little bit extra just to get that dirt out there. Now, once that, what I do is I generally will put 3, 4, 5 pots of these in the fridge, leave the rest of the worms in here to breed. So we're going to leave the rest of these in here. I keep these indoors at the moment because it's a bit hot outside, it's cooler indoors. Now, just rip a bit of your packaging up, pop that in there for now. The worms will get rid of that in no time. You could put food scraps and bits and bobs in there as well. I don't like to put too much of that in because I don't want it to stink. And then we will just put the lid on that. Okay, so you can see what I do with the worms there. Like I say, I've no intent to cause anyone any distress or get upset about the fact we're feeding live worms. These are Dendrobinas, these are farmed worms. Now I use these for fishing. Arguably this is probably a better way to treat them than putting them on a hook. Now, if you don't like to see worms getting eaten, then please look away now and come back to my next video. That's important, come back to my next video. However, I do think it's very interesting to see how all the fish interact and how the fire eel especially eats the worms. We're going to do it now and do a bit of a feeding. Right, so this is the tank we're going to feed at the moment. We're going to feed some pellets to the bigger fish to start with, get them out of the way a little bit, and then hopefully feed Charizard. Also, a bit of an update on the plants. Peace lilies doing amazing, and the pothos has finally started shooting lovely new leaves, and the Monstera's new leaf is looking epic. So really happy with the way that's looking now, which is amazing. Right, let's get on with this feeding. Okay, so the cichlids, the clown loach, love them as well. Tinfoil barbs are going to get Hikari cichlid gold sinking pellets. These are the larger type. We chuck them in first, and hopefully that will distract them while we feed the fire reel. We're going to feed them quite a lot. Normally I only feed my fish, the larger fish, once a day. I like to tip them all out on the side, and then I will just push them in. I'm going to put you there so you can see it. As you can see, they all know what's happening here. The Charizard hasn't come out yet. Doesn't mean he's not going to. Coming out, Charizard? He's thinking about it. There he is. So, come back over here. These are all eating theirs nicely, hopefully getting full up. Okay, so here's Charizard, our fire eel. Like I say, he's not fully grown yet, but he is pretty. So he's waiting for us to feed some worms. So let's get our pot of worms. I'm going to grab one to start with. See, he comes right up to the surface here. Sometimes he will beg for them. That's one. Do the next one from here. He'll generally then go and hide with that one worm. As you can see with these big fish, you can see why I've got two FX6 running. The way they make the water absolutely horrendous. There's Charizard there, underneath there, ready for his second one. I think he might be. Okay, so he comes for his next worm. Here we go, he's ready for it. We're going to hand feed him this time, hopefully. There we go. And then every now and again, he surprises you and he likes to nearly jump out the water. It's important with fire eels, I forgot to mention, to keep a very tight fitting lid. I'll put that clip now. I managed to catch it on video where he nearly jumped out of the water trying to get a worm. So that being said, I think you can see why they're such a cool fish, an eel. I don't know whether it's a fish or not. And I recommend keeping one as long as you've got the space to eventually upgrade the tank and feed him. He's going to go in his own tank soon. We're going to start him off with a 4-foot, 100-gallon, hopefully. And then as he gets bigger, an indoor pond, which is the dream, the goal. We've just got to get around to doing it and clear some space. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I say, there is a link in the description if you're in the UK for the worms that I use. You can use earthworms, you can use anything. I do recommend keeping them in a refrigerator, let them purge themselves. You can also put some newspaper in that, damp newspaper, let them poop out all their debris and stuff that they've eaten, which is generally just soil. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, please subscribe. 95% you aren't subscribed if you're watching the videos, and I really would like to get the subscriber count up. So please do that. Please like the video, that's also very important. And please leave me a comment, let me know what you think, good or bad. Keep it nice, and until the next time, take care.